What is up, my bodyweight warriors, and welcome back to another video. And today's video, I think is a pretty useful one. We're going to go over basically the 3 stretches that you need to do on a daily basis. This sounds kind of like it's essential. It's not by any means, but for those people who just generally want to feel, move better, have some sort of flexibility in their life, this is like the bare bones minimalist approach. This is the minimum we can do that's going to cover the widest amount of area and give the widest benefit, in my opinion at least. Rather than rambling on any further, I'll give you those 3 stretches now, and then we'll jump into the what and whys a little bit later on. So for the 3 stretches that I think are essential on a daily basis for moving, feeling better and having a little bit of all-round flexibility is number 1, hanging. Hanging is essential for the shoulder. Number 2, we have squatting is essential for the hips. And number 3, we have the upward dog position. And this one is essential for fighting all the flexion that we kind of accumulate on a day-to-day basis. And I'll explain what I mean by these 3. So number 1, let's talk about hanging. Hanging is one of those incredible things that you can do for the shoulder that is just very, very simple. Depending on whether or not you believe in evolution, we came from apes. Apes generally do this thing where they swing around from trees. They brachiate with their shoulders. And this is something that we often miss in day-to-day life when we're sat in front of a computer, typing away with our arms in front of us like a T-Rex. This can cause all of that rounded shoulders. We have the shoulders coming in, we have the neck going forward, we get tightening of the biceps, of the pecs, of the neck, and we also get compression of the spine as well. What hanging does is it gets our shoulders open, it gets them overhead, it gets them moving. It's going to give us a nice stretch on the lat, it's going to give us a stretch in the bicep, the pec. It's also going to provide a little bit of spinal decompression because we can have our legs hanging free, so we can decompress the spine a little bit from being sat down or from whatever we've been doing in the day. And it's going to help develop overhead flexibility and just keep those shoulders a little bit more mobile. In terms of how you would actually do this one, you can just kind of hang throughout the day. You could do it all at one time. If you want to say you're in the gym, just start hanging in your rest periods. Do 10, 20, 30 seconds. You can kind of look to accumulate several minutes throughout the day. Or if you work in an office or work at home, maybe you put up a door frame pull-up bar, and every time you walk underneath that bar, just hang from it for 20 seconds. It's a great thing to do just here and thereabouts, and it feels pretty good as well. You can also try it using a pronated grip, so that means palms facing away from you. You can try it in a neutral grip, that's palms facing together, and then you could try it in a supinated grip, which would be palms facing towards you. All of them are going to provide a slightly different feeling and sensation in terms of the hanging stretch. Number 2, let's talk about squatting. Squatting is just like one of those fundamental human patterns. It basically creates flexibility in all of the lower limbs. It's going to help develop, number 1, your ankle flexibility. It's going to help develop your glute and your hamstring flexibility from being low down in a squat. It's going to keep those knees healthy. There's many benefits to squatting, but it's just a great all-round position to get in, and there's something that feels instinctively comfortable about it. Now, again, how do you implement this? You can just, sit, chill in a squat. Sit for 10, 20, 30 seconds. Probably initially it might be a little bit hard for you. Just start with less and then work on staying in the squat a little bit longer. These are the sort of stretches you just want to do until it feels good, and you can just do it repeatedly throughout the day. If you can't sit in a relaxed squat, what you can do is just get something that you can hold of in front of you. Get an anchor point in front of you, put both hands around it, sit down into a squat. This is going to take away some of that requirement for flexibility, and you can just happily sit down and still get the nice benefits of the stretch. And if you can, get your elbows inside of your knees and try to push those knees out. Another great stretch just to help your hips feel better. Lastly, number 3, we have the upward dog position, and this kind of fills in the missing gaps. We've got kind of our general upper body flexibility in hanging. We've got our general lower body flexibility with the squat, but one thing that we haven't got is a nice stretch out from that day-to-day position of flexion. You're sat down, your spine's in flexion. When you're sat on the sofa at night, your spine's in flexion. All of these things, we're just very used to this flexed position, being hunched over. What we don't do enough of is being extended, and this is what this stretch does perfectly. It's going to provide you a very nice stretch over the abdominals. It's going to provide you a little bit of a stretch with the hip flexor, the psoas complex, and it's going to put your spine into extension, which actually can be a very relieving position, especially if you suffer from some lower back pain. Obviously, doing this with care, maybe trying things like the Mackenzie push-up and easing your way into it, but just generally breathing, spending a little bit of time in extension, this is going to help combat that just day-to-day activity. And how do you apply it? In exactly the same way as we applied all the other stretches. 10, 20, 30 seconds, sit in the stretch, breathe, nice and controlled, relaxed breathing, and then, do as many sets as you want. Do it until it feels good. These sort of stretches, they're not really stretches, they're just more natural human positions, things that we can sit in and just breathe. And it can give you some nice relief, and then move on to your other thing and kind of just add it in where you can. That you can put it in the morning, the evening, the middle of the day, whatever, it doesn't matter. Do it until it feels good. But that has basically been it for today, guys. I thought this would be quite a fun video, and it's just an interesting one to reflect on, because oftentimes it's very easy to make things very, very complicated and go into the minutia. But sometimes it's nice just to step back and think, like, what's the minimum that I can do? What's the essentials? What are the things that are going to make me feel best? What are the things that are going to give me the most value? And I think these 3 stretches, for the average person who just wants to feel and move a little bit better, they are going to hit the nail on the head. But that's just my opinion, guys. If you have a question or if you have your own opinion, please feel free to share it in the comments section down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one. If you just enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up button and support the channel. And right next to it is that subscribe button. You can join the Bodyweight Warrior Tribe. You don't want to miss out on any more future videos like these and all the other ones that are already on the channel. But that has been it for this week, guys. I will catch you in the next episode. Have a strong week and peace.